I support Joe Biden because Donald Trump's term in office has been the most despicable and disgusting and aberrant excuse for a presidency in the history of the United States of America. This president went out of his way to separate kids from their families, to scare immigrants from coming to this country. America was once a country of hope, and under this president, it's just a burnt out candle. We used to be a shining light on top of the hill, or whatever that quote is. But we've lost our soul almost under Donald Trump. Nearly every Trump supporter I talk to says that they like him because they don't really take him seriously. They think he's a joke. They think that he's funny, you know? But it's not funny when his rhetoric amplifies white nationalist terrorism. Now, the thing is, Donald Trump won the 2016 election in part because of a pledge to end Islamic terrorism and because he called out Islamic terrorism by name when his opponent Hillary Clinton refused to do so, which is one of the reasons I actually supported him in 2016. But why won't he do the exact same when it comes to white nationalist terrorists? It's because they support him. It's because they are white. It's because they're not the people of color that he taught people to fear. That they were going to take their jobs, their lives, their neighborhoods, everything. That's what he's trying to do with this whole suburban message. He's saying we're going to take back the suburbs. From who? They're not being taken over, unless you count people peacefully protesting. Now, another thing that really kind of pushed me over the edge to support Biden in this election was the fact that Donald Trump and the Republican Party amplified the couple in the St. Louis area who went outside of their homes, went out of their way to hold their guns in the faces of protesters to scare them away or whatever, because they said they felt their lives were in danger. I guarantee you, if those were the pro-Confederate monument protesters that were at Charlottesville, those people would not have given a flying fuck. And you know why that is? Because you don't necessarily have to have racist thoughts. But I feel like a lot of people who support this president's rhetoric have those deep inner biases that the president brings out whenever he talks, whenever he uses certain code words, whenever he says certain things at rallies. But anyways, let's talk about the positives of Joe Biden, because I do feel like he's a very experienced individual. I feel like he could step into the job and be ready. I feel like Joe Biden would not be too much of a consequential president. I feel like that Joe Biden, as a president, wouldn't do too much, historically speaking. I feel like Joe Biden just knows how to get us back to where we were before Donald Trump's presidency so that another president can take over after him. I doubt he will run for a second term. If I really thought he'd run for a second term and really wanted this, I probably wouldn't be going for him. I'd probably be supporting some third-party candidate, even though I'm actually not able to vote. I'm actually 1 month away from being able to vote, which is very sad. But Joe Biden, when he was picked to be Obama's vice president, and when he became vice president, they had to fix the largest recession nearly in American history besides the Great Depression. People were homeless. The prices of houses were way up. People were losing their jobs. And Joe Biden got Republicans and Democrats together at a time right after a partisan election and got them to approve a massive stimulus package. He whipped the votes for Obamacare, which gave people health coverage who didn't have any health coverage, who didn't have a way of getting health coverage because they had diabetes and that type of thing. But anyways, let me pick on another point real quick. I'll get back to Joe Biden's experience in a second. But the Supreme Court fight that we're having in this election is also one of the most consequential issues in this election besides the COVID-19 pandemic and the economy and whatnot. This is going to last generations. The economy can go good, bad, good, bad. The Supreme Court stays the same way until a justice retires or dies. So right now, Donald Trump and the Republicans have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court, which means they can pretty much get away with whatever they want as long as no more than one of their conservative judges votes different than them. So right after the election, the Supreme Court is going to hear a case on whether Obamacare is unconstitutional. Now, normally, I don't think I'd be making that big of a deal about this, but here's the thing. If Obamacare is thrown away, then you're going to have at least 9 million people in the United States not be able to get health insurance, likely because insurance companies will be able to deny people with pre-existing conditions affordable health care. And every one of the COVID-19 patients in the United States, everyone who's gotten infected, counts as a pre-existing condition. Which means that if the Republicans get their way, if you've had coronavirus, then there's a chance that you might not be able to get health care. You might get denied affordable basic rights, which is despicable. I have no idea why the Republicans keep saying they're going to repeal Obamacare, but then not have a plan to fix it. Donald Trump says that after the Supreme Court repeals Obamacare, he's going to come out with a plan. Well, he said that during the first year of his presidency. They worked for quite a few months. I actually remember watching C-SPAN, watching how many times they voted on trying to get healthcare reform passed. But they never did because they couldn't keep their damn party together, because Donald Trump is supposed to be a legislator-in-chief. That's one of the roles of the presidency. You're supposed to get your party together to vote on things that the party supports and that you think would be beneficial to America. But he doesn't do that. He doesn't know how to work with other people. He just cares about getting his way. He cares about the positive news coverings. I heard, actually, and I'm aware that nearly every president has former employees who diss them. And a lot of the times it's just to make money. And I do not doubt that a lot of the people who have come out to say negative things about the Trump administration are trying to make money. I think John Bolton is always looking for an excuse to get TV headlines. But the rate in the Donald Trump administration as to how many people have been saying bad things about him is a lot higher than other presidents. And you know why that is? That's not because fake news. That's because they know that he is full of bullshit. These are people that have worked with presidents for decades. And now they're coming out and saying Donald Trump is the worst president they've ever worked with because he does not care. They've literally had to simplify classified briefings for him into talking about winners and losers, because that's what they know he understands, because he wasn't interested in getting briefings. They have to put stuff on PowerPoints for him because he is a child. He's a child. He doesn't care about the job. So people say that it's funny, he makes jokes a lot, but he's the president. He's the one who makes decisions regarding people's lives, in some cases. He wants to appear tough, but he also appears heartless. So Joe Biden will restore the soul of this nation, but Donald Trump is just stretching and pulling the soul of this nation. In Joe Biden, we have a president who cares about honor and decency, but in Donald Trump, we have a president who cares about paying as little tax as possible. You know, he paid $750 in taxes during the first year of his presidency. It's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure my mom pays more in taxes than that. Yeah. So it's ridiculous, to be honest. I'm sitting here right now trying to compose my thoughts because there's so many things wrong with this president. There's so many things wrong with his behavior. It's not even like, I'm to the point where I can't even support anything he does because I know that he doesn't really want anything. He doesn't care. The only thing he cares about is getting himself reelected. And let me get back on that point. Joe Biden really does know what he's doing. They say he has dementia. They say he's old. They say all that crazy stuff. And I don't doubt he's an old man who messes up his words sometimes. I've seen him get a little worse in the past few years. I don't think he has dementia. I don't think that's for me to say. I'm not a doctor. I don't think he has dementia. But what I do think, though, is that he does have really good people around him who will push him to actually have a progressive agenda, to actually return America back to normalcy. And I think it's up for Biden to decide whether or not he just wants to return to normalcy or whether he wants to enact this progressive agenda, which I honestly don't know which one he will do. I actually prefer the first one. I really do hope that he just gets America back to where it was, so we can have a normal U.S. presidential election without having to deal with Donald Trump's chaotic ass. And it was entertaining at first, but now that he's the president, it's not entertaining anymore. It's getting old, and I'm tired of not being able to see our government make compromises between Republicans and Democrats. You had criminal justice reform, but man, that was an easy thing to do, to be honest. People wanted to get that done, and Trump just wanted to get better poll numbers with black voters. He has this weird delusion that if he does a few token things for the black community, then he can win their vote suddenly, and then he can be regarded as one of the greatest presidents in history because he was the first Republican to win the African American vote in many, many years. So I don't think he cares at all. I think he's just trying to win so that he can show off to people, because his whole life has been about trying to say Trump, 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 Trump is the best. He's not the best. When the New York Times released his partial tax returns, number one, I already said this, they showed he paid $750 in taxes. Ridiculous. But they also said that in the 90s, when Trump filed for bankruptcy, he didn't do that because he was necessarily, those businesses were failing. No, they were probably succeeding, but he purposely made them go bankrupt so that he didn't have to file them on his taxes, so he could pay less in taxes. He's not a good businessman. He's just playing a game of Monopoly and using the laws to his advantage to get rich. He's not a good businessman. The only reason he's been able to be successful is because he's made an ass out of himself in public for the past 30, 40 years. He just makes money and has a platform. He's nothing more than a boy who got lucky. Joe Biden's had to work for everything he's got. He's suffered unendurable loss. Right before he was seated for his first term in the Senate when he was young, he lost his wife. And I don't remember which of his kids, I think his daughter. When he was vice president, he lost his son to brain cancer. And now he has to endure the president of the United States, which is supposed to be a sophisticated job, it's not supposed to be an entertaining job, it's supposed to be a goddamn serious job. It's supposed to be the most stressful job on the planet, having to keep the entire free world together. But instead of keeping us together, Donald Trump has just tore our allies away from us. Anti-US sentiment is rising across Europe, and this isn't America first, it's America alone. It's America being the asshole at school that no one wants to talk to. Under Joe Biden, we have a president who actually knows these leaders and can actually deal with them the right way, and who won't appease them to try to make a deal that will be beneficial to him in an election. And he certainly won't call up the president of another country and ask him to investigate his political opponents like Donald Trump did, and he should have been impeached for. So anyways, Joe Biden knows what he's doing. Joe Biden knows the stress of this job. He's been right next to it. He's been at the back door of it for his whole political life, basically. I don't think he's the best candidate for president, but between the two of them, I would vote for Joe Biden in a heartbeat, and you should too. Not because you have to agree with every single one of his political views, but because this isn't normal. This isn't right. If you're white, you likely don't, or not if you're white, but if you're white, it's easy to not care about racial issues. It's easy to find it funny when Trump makes a joke, when Trump says, "Get that son of a bitch off the field." It's easy to find that funny because it doesn't affect you. You have never once in your life been stopped by a cop because of the color of your skin. You've never been shot by one. You've never had to walk down the street in fear of one. White nationalism is now the leading cause of terrorism in the United States. And you know who wasn't talking about it? The President of the United States, who denounced Islamic terrorism when it was the leading cause of terrorism in the United States. We need to fix the soul of our nation. We need to get America back to the America that dreamed big. Trump's saying he's going to send a woman to the moon now. That's odd. He's not going to do that. He's just trying to get undecided voters out, I guess. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's just trying to promote himself. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about any single one of you. He thinks y'all are dumb. You know why he thinks y'all are dumb? Because he gives you the most stupid conspiracy theories. And you believe every single one of them. You think Hunter Biden really has a laptop where he's making money and shit? Sorry for my language there. I'm getting a little impassioned. But I encourage every single one of you to go out and vote. I cannot stress how important this is. Please go out and vote. Thank you all so much. Have a great day, and God bless.